This is Walking with Jesus, a devotional journey through books of the Bible. It's a ministry of Forest Hill Presbyterian Church, and I'm Pastor Jason Van Bemmel. Thanks for joining us. Today we're wrapping up Hebrews chapter 9 as we're in day 32 of our walk through the book of Hebrews, coming to the very last couple of verses in Hebrews chapter 9, verses 27 and 28. Asking this question, what are the only two certainties? Hebrews 9:27 and 28 says, "And just as it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment, so Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him." That's Hebrews 9:27 and 28 in the English Standard Version. Well, you've heard it said before, there are just two sure things: death and taxes. Really? Because some people never really do pay taxes. While tax evasion may have eventually caught up with Al Capone, there are people who have legally figured out how to pay almost no taxes, and there are other people who do get away with tax evasion for all of their lives, and it doesn't catch up with them until after their death. So taxes seem to be far from certain. Does that leave us with just one sure thing? One thing we know for sure is that everyone dies. Doctors and medical researchers discuss the mortality rate for various medical conditions as they battle death and disease. Yet in thousands of years of human history, the mortality rate for the human condition is 100%. Everyone who lives dies, with three exceptions as far as we know. Enoch, who walked with God and was no more because God took him. Elijah, who was taken to heaven in a fiery chariot. And Jesus, who did die, but then who rose again and who ascended into heaven. So unless you are Enoch or Elijah or Jesus, death is the one absolute certainty in this life. You will die. And yet this is not the final certainty. Death may be the end of this life, but God's word assures us that each of us will face one more certainty: judgment. Everyone will die, and everyone will be judged. How can we know? We can know because Jesus rose again from the dead, and he made some serious claims about himself, all of which were confirmed by his resurrection. Jesus claimed to be the Son of God in John chapter 5, verses 17 and 18. He said that all authority in heaven and on earth had been given to him in Matthew 28, 18 through 19. And he said that all judgment had been committed to him by his Father in John 5:22. So he's the Son of God who's been given all authority in heaven and on earth, and all judgment has been entrusted to him. Now, anyone can say these things, of course, and other people have said them. Merely saying them does not make them true. But Jesus rose again from the dead. Once buried in a grave, dead, stone cold, laid out in a tomb for days, Jesus rose again from the dead, appeared to his disciples in the flesh, ate with them, drank with them, and then ascended into heaven right before their eyes. They were eyewitnesses of these things, and it is with the certain knowledge of the resurrection that we can also have certain knowledge of his coming return and judging of all people. So that leaves us with two certainties, but they are not death and taxes, they are death and judgment. We know that we will all die, and that one day we will all stand before Jesus and be judged by him. Do you know what he will say to you on that day? Jesus said he'll say one of two things to everyone: either, "Well done, good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of your master," or, "Depart from me." And to depart from Jesus is to be shut out from all light and life and hope forever. So when you stand before Jesus, a coming reality that is as certain as death, what will he say to you? If you are eagerly waiting for him, you can know for certain that he will come to save you when he comes to judge the world. And that is a good certainty indeed.